British authorities sound the alarm over the rise of forced marriage among the UK's Islamic community. This could be seen as another effect of mass migration, which could impact the U.S. as well. One America's Kristian Rouz has more on the practice and how British officials are responding.
Another dreadful effect of chain migration is revealed by the British Home Office's probe into the alleged visa fraud. Officials have found Islamic communities in Britain have practiced forced marriage for years, involving the abuse of mentally ill and underage women to bring in immigrants from third world countries. Such practices aren't exclusive to the UK, as investigators suggest any country that allows immigration through family ties is a potential hotspot for forced marriage, including the US.
I was born in the UK. In the south of England. My parents moved here from Pakistan. Basically, there was this threat that if I stepped out of line, that I would be taken away, because I had heard that this has happened to other girls, and taken out of the country, out of the UK to Pakistan, and left there until I was ready to be married.
According to UK officials, last year alone 88 visa applications were suspected of involving forced marriage. Nevertheless, half of these visas were approved. A recent Freedom of Information request from the UK's main newspaper, The Times, revealed the Home Office received up to 175 objections to the issuance of spouse visas last year. Britain's Home Secretary stressed forced marriage is a despicable practice that must stop and vowed decisive action to crack down on chain migration.
We estimate there's around 770,000 people that are settled in Britain that speak hardly no or just a tiny bit of English. And clearly anyone can see, if you can't speak the language of Britain, how are you going to get on in society and take advantage of all the opportunities that are there?
Forced marriage has been rife amongst the UK's Islamic communities, with reports of young girls being raised specifically for the purpose of marrying foreign nationals to make them legal residents in the UK. Forced marriage is gradually becoming a more prominent issue in the US as well, in line with America's growing Islamic community. According to the US Citizenship and Immigration Services, most cases of forced marriage involve domestic violence, child abuse, rape, assault, kidnapping, threats of violence, stalking or coercion.
It's a poison. This attitude to women is a poison, and our leaders are importing it wholesale, unconditionally, and now we have Sharia law. Now we have FGM. Now we have forced marriage and child marriage, and nothing whatsoever is done about it.
And as suggested by the UK's Home Office, citizens are also at risk. According to reports, British-born women have been forced to marry men in Islamic countries of South Asia and the Middle East, while the patterns of chain migration into the US suggest Central and South America might be the regions of heightened alert.
Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives.
The British government has pledged to investigate and prosecute the cases of forced marriage as regular crime, albeit its effects go far beyond the damage to the victim's physical and mental health. Across the Atlantic, President Trump has suggested it would be easier to battle the cause rather than symptoms, pushing for a reform that would eradicate family-based immigration altogether.
So when we've set our foreign policy and when we're going around the world, what we're saying is marriage before 18 is a human rights abuse, forces girls into adulthood before they're ready, and we need to end it. But at home, in the United States, in year 2017, marriage before 18 is legal in all 50 states.
In the meantime, the number of forced marriages in the UK has amounted to almost 1,200 last year. And in the US, some state laws allow the marriage of children as young as 13, creating quite a favorable environment for human traffickers and organized crime to legalize their presence in this country. Kristian, Rouz, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.